beginning and the end is in an indeterminate state now where it has no visitors. And in previous conversations, we both noted the irony of an artist whose one of their major bodies of work is sealed time capsules, and that this exhibition featuring sealed time capsules by you is now sealed off from the public. And I would love to hear your thoughts on how this closure has affected your thinking about the show and maybe the interpretation or meaning of the works in the show.
I do see the irony in the fact that there's a, a large part of my work and my art action has to do with hiding and secrecy and delayed viewing, and I wanted to pursue that beyond the appearance of simplicity of objects. And so one step after another from 67 to 1970 pushed those things in whatever ways would occur to me, and it finally led to in the extreme works that had no substance at all because they didn't actually exist. If there's irony involved in this, that's a connection. That really, this event is in harmony with the way I work and my concerns with the passage of time and the precious nature of the life and time that we're given. And that's been the subject of that keeps reappearing in different ways. It exists in my time capsules, the 3 time capsules that you face when you're looking at the portrait of Dad. I don't really consider them time capsules. How I felt about them was that they were time machines rather than time capsules, and they were intended to move you mentally to within moments of the very end of your life. And I felt that it was kind of like tightening the tension a little bit with each one. The last act was possible, but after you could no longer move, the last word was possible. And after you could no longer speak, the last thought was possible. And it seemed to me that as 3 objects functioning together, they performed a valuable service to people that the portrait also did. After people had seen the portrait of my dad, they talk about the loss of their parents and loss of family members and dealing with that. And for some reason, the seeing the portrait seems to make that easier for people.
Across the hall, across the art link from the portrait of my father is the video work, Heartbeat, that you made in 2001. If you want to describe that piece and what you were thinking when you made that.
The video is a countdown of the number of seconds left in my life if I live to be my mother's age. And I'm approaching her age now. I'm within 2.5 years of her age. And I started out with millions of seconds. If you divide your life into seconds, then they tick down perceptibly, one at a time.
The Heartbeat video was one of the first pieces I thought about when the museum closed, because that is one of the pieces that doesn't really require a viewer. When I was sitting at home during the museum closure, I was thinking about the objects without spectators, and I was thinking about how that video was still counting down the seconds, whether people were there or not. I started thinking about things like the magnetic force that's holding that time capsule to the wall when you first walk in, and that force was still operating. So there's still things happening in the gallery that aren't dependent on human presence, and I find that fascinating.
the role of a viewer has kind of exploded into my consciousness when I moved to New York and I began thinking about uh, putting works of art out in public, unidentified, and how I could put things like the sidewalk plaques, set them in a public sidewalk, and people could walk on them and buy them until in 400 years or so they'd be worn smooth, and yet 90% of the people would never see them. Then occasionally somebody would be come by and see the word Earth embedded in the sidewalk and go, wait a minute, is that a label for this ball of dirt I'm standing on? Or what is that? And so just thinking about the fact that we can visually see something and not see it conceptually.
I think Duchamp called it the art coefficient,
Yeah, I'm
that
sure it
sort of
is.
gap between what is seen and then the understanding that follows.
Uh, I remember being in Italy, walking on a piazza, and it was paved with round, almost spherical stones, and but they were all flat on top. And I walked partway across, and I realized, wait a minute, these weren't flat on top when they put them in. They were cobblestones, and they so many people have stepped on them. I mean, these are rocks. They've become flattened down on top, and I had this kind of rush of a feeling of that permanence and tremendous age that was pretty exciting.
I saw a video on my computer about the benefits that dogs are deriving from COVID pandemic because people are home. And I believe it. I've experienced it with our dog. Mary is, Mary is her number one person. I just have to be upfront about that. Our dog likes Mary better than she likes me, although she loves me tremendously.